Hello, and this is technical video number 5. And in this video, we're going to be covering uh, the lab vehicle, the 2006 Toyota Corolla, with a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder engine. And we're going to be looking at the fuel injectors on this car. So first, to start off, we need to find the wiring diagram so we can know where exactly we need to test these things electronically. So we're gonna go to electrical, look for electrical and OE. Look for fuel delivery and air induction, and it's gonna take us to this link here. Click the link, and we look through this chart here to find injector number 1 through 4. Go there, and then now we have this picture right up here that shows us the wiring diagram, where power comes from this black and white wire all the way down to each of the 4 injectors, where each of them have their own individual different colored wire to the ECM, and these injectors are ground side controlled because they each have their own individual ground. And this car in particular uses sequential fuel injection, which means that each injector is fired individually from each other. So each injector is timed to exactly when the intake valve opens for each individual cylinder, rather than a group or batch fire that would have both injectors fire for corresponding cylinders. And now we're going to take it to some lab footage of us testing these injectors.
The first test we performed was this voltage at test. Now we focused on cylinders 1 and cylinder 2. This gave us battery voltage at both, with both key on, engine off, and then key on, engine on.
Alright, so here we're out testing the fuel injector resistance. We're going to be doing the first 2 injectors here. So we're going to start with the first one. .5 ohms. We're going to number 2 here. We got 12.5 ohms.
Next up, we'll be talking about the picoscope testing that we completed on the Corolla. Now, before we get started, this is what a picoscope looks like at idle, at perfect idle. So as you can see, the on time for the injectors is around 2.321 milliseconds, and it stayed pretty consistent throughout the testing for idle. This first test is the enrichment test. We made the cylinder rich by adding propane into the intake manifold. You can see that at base level, it'll be at 2.321 milliseconds. And when we brought it in, we got down to 1.98 milliseconds before we unfortunately killed it by enriching it too much. So as I said, this was actually the best picture that we got of it being rich, and you can see that it was at 1.98 milliseconds. Next up is the lean. So in order to make the lean code occur, we slowly made a vacuum leak until it significantly showed up on the Picoscope. Now that's a little tough to do with the Corolla, but we were able to figure something out. So here you can see how the injectant on time is changing as it's trying to keep up with the low vacuum and me having to play around with this intake manifold hose. Here you can really just see it kind of like trying to keep up, and right before it died you could actually see how long it was actually on. So the on time for the injectors kind of shows you how the cylinder is how it's feeling. So obviously if the on time is longer than 2.321 milliseconds, then it needs to add more fuel because there's not enough fuel in the actual cylinder. So that would be a lean condition. And when it's shorter, it has already a lot of fuel in there and it's trying to not blow itself up. Here we can see the best footage that we got of the lean condition. So the Corolla has a really tough time with running lean, but right before it died there, you saw that we got to 2.69 milliseconds, and that's the longest on time that we had with the injectors.
From this lab, we were able to learn about the type of injection present on the Toyota Corolla, as well as learn what pulse width modulation was and how it changed during different air-fuel ratio conditions on the engine.